Right guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be going through the recovery process, why it's important and what I do personally to recover. As always, you know what's going to come. If you do enjoy the video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe notification if you are not subscribed already, and let's start this video. So let's start by talking about what recovery is. Recovery is a return to the normal state of health, strength or mind, and what this means is that your body goes back to how it should be to get optimal performance all round. So recovery is important for a few reasons. So one, it helps reduce the risk of any potential injury. The more you recover, the less strain is put onto a muscle so it has a chance to repair. Therefore you will have less risk of injury when it's at its normal state of functioning. The next is improved performance. If your muscles are raring and ready to go, you're more than likely going to be able to push to a better and higher intensity or volume. If they are worn down, tight and sore, and they haven't fully got their strength back together, then the performance is going to majorly decrease because the muscles can't keep up with what you're doing. And of course, it's going to help with the healing time for the next session. So you'll need to make sure that between your training sessions, if you are ramping up the volume, that you get that optimal recovery in so the intensity doesn't drop down majorly. Of course, recovery is important and it's critical for any training program. So even the top people in the world, so your Usain Bolts, your Matt Frasers, all these people definitely have recovery days or recovery times, and they'll do certain things to help them recover quicker or better. So let's talk about training while sore. Now, intense training causes lactic acid to increase from its concentration, causing something called DONS, which is delayed onset of muscle soreness. So that's why when you finish the session or the next day, you'll feel that your hamstrings, your calves are quite sore, and it's again just that DOMS, that lactic acid, which has set in. It will go, but you can do a few things to help it go a little bit quicker. And when we rest, when we recover for an optimal amount of time, depending on how intense the session was, the lactic acid in your body will go back to normal. So if you are to train whilst you are sore, it's going to reduce muscle activation, so your muscles won't get the bang for the buck that you want in each session, and it's also going to negatively influence your recovery process. So if you're going to continue to train while sore, let's say you've done a 10k run and the next day you're doing a 5k run, at what point have your calves had enough time to recover? So therefore the recovery process is negatively influenced. It's important to note that you must listen to your body when you need to rest, even if you've got stuff to do. If your body is aching the day after a big training session, you want to try and listen to it, right? Again, it's going to help with reducing the risk of injury, and when we rest often, it's going to help in the long run of better performance. So let's talk about why I recover personally. Now, recovery for me, again, is to help me ramp up my intensity. Some of the workouts I do are quite intense. CrossFit is intense, and I want to make sure that I can push as hard as I can in each session. Therefore, my rest and recovery is essential for me wanting to get that training volume out. It's all about quality over quantity. Now, an example, I did a 30-day challenge in November where I trained every single day. I went back to the gym in December and I actually got injured. I injured my inner thigh, and that's proving that I didn't rest enough for my body. Therefore, I got injured. So I've always remembered now to take a rest day, maybe 2 rest days, depends how my body feels. But the majority of the time I will rest once a week. So let's go through some of the ways I personally recover on a day-to-day basis, especially when feeling sore. So the first thing, before any session, even on rest days, I'll make sure that I spend 10 to 15 minutes doing some form of mobility. Now, mobility is important because it helps improve and increase the range of motion in joints, and it will help in the long run in improving posture if done consistently. Also, when sore, mobility is a great way to help alleviate any aches or pains in the joints, and it's good to help the blood and the synovial fluid circulate around the body before a session, especially if you're primed to go ham that day. So before a session, 10 to 15 minutes of mobility is going to be ideal for the first part of your recovery process when you are about to start training. Now, after a training session, stretching is also very important. Again, we'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes doing 30 to 60 seconds holds per single stretch. Now, of course, the stretching will apply to what muscles you've worked that day. So if you've done a heavy leg day, you might want to do some hamstring stretches. If you've done a upper body day, you might want to focus on stretching out the shoulders and so forth. So when stretching, the lactic acid is broken down, and it's going to again prevent DOMS as much, so the soreness the next day. It's also going to help with muscle repair and recovery. Now, when it comes to foam rolling, this can be done before or after a session. Before training, again, in your mobility, I like to do it to help with releasing any tension around the joints in comparison to using it to roll out any tightness or soreness. But after a session, it's going to help improve performance and again reduce delayed onset of muscle soreness. Along the same topic of stretching, yoga is a great way to help you recover. It can be a good state of mindset, or it could be a good form of stretching and relaxation for active recovery. Now, yoga sessions can be as long as you like. It might be a morning session if you're feeling stiff after your sleep. It can be an evening session whenever you're feeling stressed or anxious. But again, that form of active recovery and relaxation will help the process a little bit quicker if it's done, again, consistently. Whilst we are talking about active recovery, it's important to know what active recovery is. So this can be anything that's not strenuous. So it can be going from walking, cycling, rowing, swimming, anything which is going to keep the heart rate about 60% to 70% of the maximum. Again, these sessions can take as long as you want. Usually around 30 to 60 minutes is optimal. And again, it's all about letting the muscles recover with no strain or anything strenuous on the muscles or joints. So if you were to do a leg day, you might want to do 30 minutes of cycling the next day to help the legs recover a little bit, again keeping that heart rate nice and low. Or if you are to do an upper body day, you might want to spend that time the next day doing a bit of rowing, again just to help the recovery process a little bit quicker and get the blood flowing back to the muscles. This is another way which we can help that recovery process. Now, let's talk about training volume. Now, everybody is different. Some people will be able to have longer durations of volume. It just depends what their body is primed for and how it's been built. But usually I train about 6 days a week. So throughout the week, I'll usually do around about 3 strength sessions, 2 cardio or hip-based sessions, 1 run, and then 1 yoga style session as well. So that brings me up to training 7 times a week, but on one of those days I'll do 2 sessions. So the way I know I'm not overtraining is because I won't purposely hit a muscle group under so much strain twice in a row, therefore it's less likely to get injured. So when it comes to volume, you want to make sure that you have your plan set out, you know what you're training when, and you're able to meet the intensity each of those days without putting them under too much fatigue. Now, the most important thing on this list for recovery is most certainly sleep. So we need to, for our bodies, try and get 7 to 9 good quality hours of sleep every single night. And we need to try and make it consistent. So my personal routine at the minute is around about going to sleep around 2 a.m. and waking up around about 10 a.m, therefore getting the average about 8 hours. Now, I have different ways to help me improve quality. So getting a nice comfortable mattress, so memory foam, we want something comfortable and supportive, so when we come out of our deep sleep we can feel rested, not coming out with lots of aches and pains. We definitely don't want that. We want to make sure that we are comfortable in our bed, so a mattress will be a really good investment if you are struggling with that rest every single morning when you wake up. A few other little tips and tricks which I've been trying recently is a diffuser. So I have a lavender scent in there, and lavender has been proven to help reduce anxiety and it releases calming scents to help me feel less anxious. Another thing I've been trying recently since I was injured is something called CBD oil. CBD oil helps reduce stress responses, therefore helping you relax a little bit better. It also helps with aches and pains, again, which was the reason I took it. So I take it twice a day, 3 drops under the tongue, and I have it after a meal when I'm feeling full, and again my last meal before bed. It'll just help me relax a little bit better. I find that I'm getting a lot better quality deep sleep since I've been having this. I don't know if it's a placebo, but I'm having it and I'm enjoying it. Another thing is a pregnancy pillow. Now don't laugh at me with this. It helps me feel comfortable when I'm sleeping. I don't use it all the time, but when I do, it's helping me with different types of support. So you can go in so many different positions whilst using the pregnancy pillow. It's just something to help keep you comfortable. And again, if that helps me sleep better, so be it, I'll sleep with a pregnancy pillow. Now, something which is helping me track my sleep, whether it's my recovery, my strain, and my quality, is a Whoop watch. Now, I bought this just after Christmas and I've been monitoring it for the past month. And my times are very consistent when I go to sleep. The duration isn't always consistent, and I've been trialing and erroring, not using my CBD oil, my pregnancy pillow, and my diffuser, and I've found that when I don't use those 3 things, that I actually don't sleep as well. So personally for me, I've found that using the CBD oil, the diffuser, and the pillow is helping me with my quality massively. Therefore, when you get more sleep, your response to training will be better. You will have had longer durations of time to recover, and again, sleep is definitely the most important thing which you need to help with your recovery process and when trying to build and repair your muscles. A few tips when it comes to sleeping. Try not to have caffeine after 5 p.m. as it makes you more alert. Now, everybody's different. Some people can have caffeine at 10 p.m. and be asleep by 10 past 10, but for the majority, caffeine after 5 p.m. is probably not good, and you should probably wash that out. You want to make sure you're in a calm environment so you are more relaxed. What I mean by this is that the room you sleep in isn't the room you've been in the past 3 hours before you go to bed. You want to try and get into bed and try and drift to sleep naturally as quickly as you can. Something I've been trying recently is when I get in bed, I don't use my phone as often. I try and put my electronics down, try and let myself recover. Although when I do go to sleep, I do have to have some form of light on. It's just something I bought from my childhood. So I'll usually go to sleep watching something on the telly or my iPad. But again, that creates a calm environment for me because it's what I'm used to. And the last thing for stress, write down anything that's on your mind before you go to bed. Therefore, all the thoughts will have drifted off. It's a tactic I've tried with a few of my clients and it works for some people. So if you are feeling stressed, write it down. Therefore, you can try and drift to sleep without having things on the back of your mind. Right, let's talk about food now. Now, we all know that protein is going to help repair and recover the muscles. It's going to help restore them as well and help build strength. All it does is repair the muscle fibers which have been torn during exercise, and it's important to know that this is one of the most fundamental parts of the recovery process. I would personally aim for 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. Now, vitamins are often overlooked. They all have different importances. So we've got vitamin A, which helps with the protein breakdown. We've got vitamin B complex, which helps the cells produce usable energy so that your cells have the fuels to repair the tears. We have vitamin C, which helps with strengthening collagen so you get less injuries. We have vitamin D, which if you don't have enough, so insufficient amounts, causes deficiencies and often helps lead to disrupted sleep. So vitamin D, again, is an important substance to take just for that sleep. The next section is to do with massages. So I have a massage gun and it's helping me with my recovery because it's helping increase the blood flow to a specific area where it's massaged on, which then helps reduce inflammation. It's helping to break down knots if I'm using the right attachment. Don't get me wrong, it's not amazing, but it does help. And it can also be used before sessions to help warm up that area. Now these are quite expensive, but whenever you feel sore you might want to use it for 10-15 minutes around. But yeah, really good investment. I'm happy I bought it. Next one is a power dot or a muscle stimulator. It's very similar benefits to massage guns, but it can't help with breaking down knots or tight areas because it's just a muscle stimulator. Through injury or fatigue, the signals between the brain or the body can be disrupted. So the power dot or muscle stimulator helps to restore and enhance the connections. Again, helping the blood flow to the specific area. Again, we've spoken about it a lot, helping the reduction in delayed onset of muscle soreness. Now, this is quite expensive to buy, but a good investment. It's helping me quite a little bit. I use it on areas more than anything which the massage gun can't help, and I'll have it there for a lot longer than I would on the massage gun. So it's that prolonged recovery which I like to have. And then finally, a sports massage, which is the removal of waste products or lactic acid, and it helps encourage the muscles to take up oxygen or nutrients for therefore a faster recovery. Now the benefit of sports massages as well, specific areas can be targeted for a better or longer breakdown of knots in tight areas. Therefore, if you've got a knot in your trap or your neck, a sports massage is going to help to break that down a little bit better than what a massage gun would. Now I was having these every 2 to 4 weeks. You know, I'd go for upper body on the second week and then legs on the 4th week, but unfortunately they're not actually allowed unless injured. So I've managed to book one on with a injury for next week. So hopefully before the Open I can get in a few more through injury. Now, takeaways and tips from this video. We want to make sure we're getting consistent 7 to 9 hours sleep every single night. Again, we want to try and go for consistent sleep patterns. We want to try and make sure that we can track when we are sleeping however we need to, and making sure that we're in a relaxed, calm environment and comfortable. Of course, if you need to increase the comfort, you can. Again, sleep is the priority for recovery. Next is protein. Always focus on your protein in comparison to your other macronutrients. This will help majorly with the repair and recovery. We'll make sure we're having 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. Again, essential. When we talk about training and volume, listen to your body. If it needs a rest, don't overdo it. Don't overwork a muscle which is already sore. It's only going to make things worse. So when you need to rest, listen to whatever's dying on you, okay? Active recovery, 1 to 2 times per week at least. You want to make sure, again, that we are optimizing this. It doesn't have to be anything strenuous. Again, it's going to help with so much more than you think, and especially help with recovering your mind as well. And massage is not essential, but will help with performance. So anyone who's going for a performance related goal, regular massages of course are going to help with that. And any massage tool which we spoke about, again, not essential, but to help with that recovery process, it's a go. If you made it to the end of this video, again, like last week, you're officially addicted to me, which I do enjoy, but kind of worried about at the same time. So leave the like, and I'll see you in the next one.